He
Which
said,
one did you start looking at?
huh?
Which video? Which video did you start looking at?
Um, the Romans. But it's all good.
Oh,
I kind of like, I have a little understanding about enough understanding about them, but not in depth. But I
yeah.
like watching stuff like that. I like to learn more and stuff. People nowadays don't like to watch videos past 10 minutes. Boy, oh boy, I tell you, they are missing out.
Just think about reading a book.
That's what I was just thinking.
They're not
That's
gonna
what I
read a
was just
book at
thinking.
all. They gonna look at that book like, no, no, I'm good.
I'll be like, the first line disturbing to me is too long.
Is it a mini series out on this? So, you know,
And then look, audio, poor audio, audible.
yeah.
Damn. But it's all good. But there's a lot of beautiful stuff that's on YouTube that's past 10 minutes. 10-minute
Yeah.
love. Okay. Okay. So for my ADD lovers, my ADD friends. But it's all good. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday. We got Mike on, my
Hello,
fave
Mo,
Wisdom Wednesday co-host, and
Ayo.
Ashley August, aka a set. I don't like calling my gov, but I'm gonna do it just for him. But anyways, we wanted to talk about today, drawing the connections with today in the Roman Empire. And that's my thing. I love talking about connections, drawing connections so we know where we're going. They say if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where you came from, you have no idea where you're going. They didn't literally say it like that, but they say if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. So did I say it right?
Yeah,
Anyways, um
the gist
so
of it.
right. So basically that's what we're doing. We're drawing connections. And with the hopes of people seeing what's going on instead of walking a blind, you know, road to Damascus, you know, understand what has taken place in the back in the days, so we don't repeat history. We can't keep repeating history. Okay. All seasons change. Every season has a season and comes and goes, but it's a different leaf. Okay. Same dirt with a new leaf, new cycle. We keep repeating the same cycles and wondering why things aren't changing. That's because we don't really know what's going on in our history. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. And bringing it. So he wanted to talk about Roman Empire and what's going on today, and I totally concur because here we go with the Roman Empire whole ordeal happening again, borders falling, and so on and so on. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and open this one up, so you can go ahead and like massage this one in and give us some scoops since this your topic.
Okay, well, as far as I wanted to just mention and mention before I get deep into the similarities in between the Roman Empire and the formulation of the United States of America is a little hard copy of what's going on in the country. And this also has correlations to what was happening during the Roman Empire and what led to its downfall. And one of the major factors is what's going on in our country right now, that's really affecting people in the most adverse way: economy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
astronomical prices, price of gas. I just went to the grocery store today, and a, a pack of oxtails. It was maybe like about 4 or 5 oxtails in there, about about that about that brown. $20.
Ooh.
It's like it's like that was a portion that maybe I could have ate by myself, but maybe two people could have ate.
I bet that pork probably 50 cents.
Just one meal. That's it for $20. So
That's
so
crazy.
you and the different prices of all the items uh around the in the food industry now, and how the prices are astronomical. I went into a Mexican restaurant the other day to get some tacos, and I'm looking at the menu, and the first thing I see is $5 for a taco.
They
Five
getting pricey on the cheap stuff
dollars.
too. Wow.
So we so it's a matter of the formulation of this country, uh, the ideology that the founders had for this country before, is that they wanted this to be a agrarian society. This was one of the ideologies of Thomas Jefferson, where we could sustain ourselves with agriculture, with growing our food, with harvesting our food, even our livestock and everything. And so it seems that with the situations that we are having at this juncture, I've always heard a lot of people talking about food shortages in the United States, and it never really made no impression upon me until really actually this thing with the baby formula. And
Mhm.
how can it be a shortage of baby formula? Like when y'all was processing this stuff, what made y'all not know that y'all was gonna run short
You,
and that there
you,
was gonna be a need?
did it happen out of nowhere?
What kind of management is that? We're talking
Mhm.
about we're talking about infants. We're talking about people who are just being born in this world, and it was some mothers that was out there, and it was like, uh, my baby cannot eat anything but the formula that's sold on the shelf. So what are these people are supposed to do? And one factor too, they never did mention about any fatalities that happened from that shortage. And I
So
can
you,
imagine I can imagine something bad happened, but the media didn't say anything about, and they didn't interview anyone who had these type of problems where it would be fatal or whether it be really debilitating. So this was happening in ancient Rome also, because the Roman Empire was also they were constantly involved in foreign wars, right?
mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
sounds like the United States. We've been we've been having wars since on the regular. On the regular, we've always been engaged in foreign wars, dealing with foreign policies and trying to enforce democracy uh, on different foreign nations. Influence them to turn to a democratic system and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And this same thing that caused a lot of problems that during the Roman Empire, because if your military is not there in your state or in your country, tended to the needs of the people, and y'all are fighting elsewhere in order to gain more power, you losing the protection that you provide for the people over here. You losing the confidence of these people, and so this is a major thing, along with the economy that affected us with the war in Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
by us involving ourselves in
in foreign
in
policy.
a battle that's it's not our fight. That's not
Hmm.
our fight.
Absolutely.
What
So why do you?
what's happening?
So. Hmm.
Go ahead.
So
Ask
so
your question.
why do you feel like they are involving themselves and others?
Well,
I, I
just like the Roman Empire, just like the Roman Empire, it's for power. You know, you all every kingdom from Egypt to Greece,
mm-hmm,
on down uh, Persia, and then down to ancient Rome. They always tried to conquer the world. They
mm-hmm,
wanted the authority governing the world. And
mm-hmm,
when you hear people say that Alexander the Great or Alexander the Greek conquered the world. Like, no, he did.
mm-mm,
He didn't conquer China. He didn't
mm-hmm.
conquer South America.
He just
He
changed the way they thought. He said, "We're going to rule by the sword." That's how he conquered, by the ruling of the
Well, they
sword.
conquered what they call the known world. These idiots didn't know how to navigate and go overseas and
Correct.
travel to uh, you know to North America itself because no one besides the well, early on the conquistadors and the French came to North America over here where on this continent, and tried to the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Toltecs and people like that. But we never was really under any occupation until the British the British and the Europeans came over here in 1492.
Mhm.
So the reason why the United States is involving themselves in Ukraine particularly is because of this UN NATO alliance. NATO is supposed to be like police for the world. Like they're
Mhm.
supposed to uh, maintain checks and balances over who messes with who and whether there can be any type of intervention where where y'all can solve this conflict peacefully or in some other fashion. But NATO seems to be quite impotent since I've been looking at the state of the world affairs. They have never been able to solve anything. They have never been able to come to any type of uh, peaceful alliances with dealing with two different factions and everything. And now that this is happening over here in Ukraine, the United States is using this as a testing ground, for they using the United States is using Ukraine to gauge how they can affect Russia if they ever have to go to war with Russia.
Mm.
That's it underlying thing, and this comes from some of the military officials who uh, who tell the truth. I was looking at this one YouTube. I put it in the in the in the in the hidden. I put all of the videos and all the bibliography of all the information where I'm getting it from. Uh, After we get finished with this video because I don't have time to go back and forth. But there is something that you can look into, and I'll stop with the hard copy right there. And there's a website. I don't know if you could bring it up, but
Okay.
uh, it's called Eight Striking Parallels Between the U.S. and the Roman Empire at Salon.com.
Striking parallels between the U.S. and Rome. Salam.
Hold on, yes, the U.S. imprint U.S. and the Roman Empire. You could just put that in, and then you'll be able to see it in the search in your search in the list of the search.
Okay.
But it's under the heading says so. Yeah, that's it. Now each these eight striking parallels. I don't know if you want to go through all of them, or if you want to get started going through them, and that you can. If you scroll down, it it starts to list them where it's
Okay.
right there where it says.
So it says,
So I mean,
mhm.
I say if you want to go ahead and read them, then I comment as necessary, or
Okay.
you can comment.
All right.
You could go ahead and read the cap in boldface.
Okay. Number one, staggering increase in the cost of elections and dubious campaign funding sources. Our 2012 election reportedly cost $3 billion. All of it was raised from private sources, often created the appearance or the reality that our leaders are beholden to a special interest groups. And during the late Roman Republic, elections became staggeringly expensive with equally deplorable results. Caesar reportedly borrowed so heavily for one political campaign, he feared he would be ruined if not elected. Two, politics as the road to personal wealth. Mhm. During the late Roman Republic period, one of the main roads to wealth was holding public office and exploiting such positions to accumulate personal wealth as Lessick notes. Did I say
That
that right? Lessick note.
yeah,
Congressmen, senators, and their staffs leveraged their government service to move to private sector positions that paid 3 to 10 times their government compensation. Even this financial agreement, their focus is therefore not so much on the people who sent them to Washington. The focus is instead on those who will make them rich. This is why they
now
don't. This is why they don't do nothing, and it's been that way. And this is the issue. This is the reason why um they dislike, they put a target on um the last president,
present.
when he,
Hmm.
yeah, because he had his own money and they could not
Right,
control him. So
exactly.
those, right, so those fat cats went ahead and put out an attack campaign on him, and started making it seem like, he's this, he's that, the orange head man, this, that, and the other. But
Mhm.
in reality, they couldn't do anything with him because he had his own money, he had his own campaign. So, well, we both know that. um and then the crazy
So
part about hmm,
go ahead.
the
You
crazy
make your
part
point.
about the last president was that people don't realize that he was a Democrat.
Hmm.
He was a Democrat right before he ran up against Hillary.
Right.
And he was so pro, people always like to say, oh, he's racist, he's prejudiced and all that stuff, but his track record don't show any of that, you know.
Hmm.
And he switched over to come from the Democrat to the Republican so he can get in office and fight her, because he knew. what their agenda was.
Yeah.
That's why when you look at some of his old stuff or some of his current stuff, even mainly the old stuff, he expressed that what's about to happen. He expressed the stuff that's happening now already in his campaigning. He said, watch, you guys are going to be paying $8, $7, $10 for gas when Biden get in office, and look what's going on.
On his tenure in office.
You know, and he was saying that watch how he opened the floodgates and let everybody in. And that was one of the main reasons why Rome and fell, and all these other great civilizations fell, because they dropped the borders.
Yeah, they had a cosmopolitan society where they let everybody come, in. You let everybody in because you want to maintain the strongest type of citizenry that you have. So instead of keeping the invaders or the foreigners out, you bring them in, to the family, give them some bread and some cheese and everything, and everybody is happy singing Kumbaya. You know
But
what I
that's not
mean?
how it goes, because you're gonna crush those who are here,
Hmm.
especially the underclass. You
Hmm.
see, and the underclass don't realize that their livelihood, whatever it is at stake, because all of the open border policy is basically taken away from them. Now it's perfect, I understand, help each other, but the thing that Trump was mentioning when he was in office, he did not stop people from coming into America. He said
No,
properly vet them.
you have to come in the right way. You
He said
can't
properly
cross
vet
anybody's borders and just walk up in their country and everything. Talk about, so, hey, can I get a social security card?
exactly. Can I get some of that? And the sad part about it is that people don't realize that Social Security, that's coming from, that's there. So that's the citizens.
Yeah,
Social Security is called
that's the
so.
loan that is taken out on you when you were born.
Exactly.
That's
That's
your slave
liquidating.
number.
Right, that is liquidating your money, liquidating your assets, whatever that you have. Even the unemployment is all tied into it. You get paid off unemployment. That's your money. That's coming out of your Social Security, your bank account that had been handed to you when you
Coming
got a
out
Social Security card. Right. So people misconstrued his mindset, simply because the media and those
liberal
lobbyists,
left.
those fat cats went out and put a media hit on him to make him look a certain way. But truth of the matter is the man has a heart of gold. I don't give a damn what nobody say. He has a heart of gold. He has a track record to show that. He put a lot of people in office. People will probably say, "Well, that's what slave owners did." Yeah, but at the same time, if you're a racist, if you're prejudiced, let me tell you this: nobody's not going to want to see you get ahead. They're not going to hire you. They're going to say, uh, "We're not hiring." But
Did
anyways,
did did you have any difficulties uh when Trump's tenure in office?
I,
Did it Did it seem like that you had a hard time trying to make it, or that racist policies kept you from achieving whatever goals that you wanted to achieve?
no, sir. Not no, no, sir. And all of my black friends who are investors are
Oh,
pissed.
you have black friends?
All my black friends that are investors
Yeah.
are highly pissed because the clown got in office. They said I made so much money, and I was making a lot of money, a whole lot of money. I was making money. I was making a lot of money in my stocks. And then soon as when Mr. Forgetful came in, everything plummeted.
Just like you mentioned before, see, Trump didn't take office to increase his wealth. He didn't take he was
That's what people want to believe.
he's a billionaire already.
How much more do you want? He's
He didn't need that. He wanted to do it was something genuine in him where he wanted to do something for the American people.
that's what he kept
Whether
saying.
greater motive was for white people, or whether it was for whatever reason why he was doing. He kept it on an American level,
Yes.
and he even went to the black clergy and the different black political factions, as well as the NAACP and the rest of the Ashkenazi ran organizations, and sat
I
down
like
and
how you
talked
said
with
that.
them. They talked about them. They talked about Steve Harvey like a dog for going to meet with Donald Trump. They
I
talked
mean,
about
look, but Donald Trump did like do him dirty.
oh yeah, but I mean, you're talking to people who have no idea, and this was a marketing move by President Trump, by him showing himself with the mainstream black black representation, that it would take away the persona and this mystagogue that he was some type of white supremacist racist, which
Because
to
they
this
needed
they will never let that go, and that's why we having these January 6th hearings on some real live bullshit.
because they want to stop him from coming back into office because they know he's coming back. So they want to stop him now. And also some claim that he's still in power.
Well, you know what? There's certain things that we'll never be privy to. Even as
Uh-huh.
far as a lot of people say that, oh, your vote don't count and all of this, that, and the other, that it's already pre-planned for these people to be in office. Like, well, I mean, so what? So what you gonna do?
Can't do nothing. But I'd rather
What
have
you
one that's not manipulated and tainted by the rest.
you can have all the conspiracy theories and all of these postulations in the world. It still boils down to the fact of the reality that we have to operate within the United States political system, as far as being able to make a livelihood in this country and to be progressive. You know what
Correct.
I
And,
mean?
and one of the things that he kept saying was, we make America great again. I kept hearing a lot of black people saying, "Oh, make America great," but does that mean slavery? No, he's telling you, produce,
Yeah,
produce. Everything he's saying, he keeps saying, bring the jobs back to America. He stopped the jobs from going out overseas and put he didn't stop them, but he put higher tariff taxes on them to stop them from sending the jobs over there, because he wanted Americans to have the jobs instead. People,
yeah,
people, that's this thing, that's this thing called reticular activation system. It's called
hmm
RAS. And it
yeah,
basically means when people are stuck in their ways, they don't want to hear anything that is against their better understanding. And when they hear something, the activation system comes up to stop you, to
yeah.
stop them from thinking outside of the box or outside of whatever they are, their small circumference of understanding. So when they hear these things, they automatically say, that's BS, that's BS, but they don't look at it for face value for what it is. They want to make something else up in spite of what's been said at that time, in spite of what has already taken place. So it's just it's dealing with a bunch of dead brain cells, and unfortunately that's the masses.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and you have people that uh, what our main focus is that they don't know history. They don't study history.
Hmm.
They don't,
And it's
they
never
don't
too late
even remember what happened last year. I mean, just the major events that happened
you know
last
why
year. They
that's
only remember what the media constantly reminds them of. That's the
because
only thing they remember.
they're constantly watching the media conform them to their understanding.
Yeah.
Sad, so sad. Let me go ahead and move
So
on to number three.
just
Huh?
like the Roman, I'll just make this final statement. Just like the uh, Roman Empire, their senators and their orators and their representatives in the state of Rome, you know, they want to gain the favor of the Caesar and everything in order to line their pockets. And just like we have, especially among our Democrats, uh, people who've done absolutely zero, and they get a nice paycheck every year, two. 200, $300,000 a year plus all the advantages that they get and all the perks and everything and all the nepotism of them bringing in their people and everything. But let me be quiet so you can go on.
You good? You good?
I wanted to make that point because I mean with in this just this you know the politics as a road to personal wealth, we could go on forever and ever and talk about that,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I digress. So you can continue.
Okay, number three, continuous war. Um, a national state of security arises, distracting attention from domestic challenges with foreign wars. Correct. That right there is the shadow government making, um, one second. I know I might get in trouble for showing this, but this book right here talks about a lot of what's going on right now.
I
And
can't see it. I can't. I can't see it. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I understand now.
by George Orwell. I know you do. Um,
Yeah,
and it talks about all that. But it says, okay, all right. I just want to read an excerpt. All right,
okay.
based on how this stuff is being orchestrated.
Hold
Uh,
on. Let me see the name of that again so I can write it down. Cause I've seen the book before, but I okay, yeah. All right, I got it.
by is it right here? I don't know why I can't angle this properly, but
Okay, I know I'm familiar with the text.
oh, I know.
I just wrote it down so I can get it.
It says, okay, America is not a democracy, and it has never been, and never has been, and God forbid that it shall be. It is a republic, which we know, whose powers are clearly defined by the Constitution. Referring to the propaganda by the British and the German government during the First World War, the writer correct. I think it's cut off a little bit. Some of the fonts is gone, but the writer correctly observed. I want to say correctly observes. I repeat, it is unthinkable. I repeat, it is unthinkable that such a dogfight between non-Americans will again be permitted in the United States. It is indeed unthinkable But such propaganda, nevertheless, being carried on right now by the EUs in the newspaper and cinema
Mm-hmm.
and over
Hmm.
their radios. It should be suppressed, even if we must close them all up. Senator Nye said of this book, I understand that this particular volume, Propaganda in the Next War, published last fall and placed in circulation, instead of having the circulation enlarged, now is suffering at the hands of those who desire to retire from its circulation. A few days ago, I came on the floor of the Senate with the volume itself. I am sorry I have not it with me today. I have not it with me today. I am told that it is the only copy of Propaganda in the Next War available in the United States. It can be had. I can borrow it again if there is an occasion and need for it in the Senate, but it is no longer easy to obtain. I wish the entire book work might be read by every member of the Senate. You're talking about um, propaganda in the next war. Okay, publishing propaganda in the next war.
What next war?
The
So that
one
means
that they're
they already planning to go to war, huh?
okay. Apparently, it's a semi official book of the British government. The destruction of these copies of the book was probably ordered by her own EU secretary. When I say EU, so you understand, I remove the J, right?
Yeah.
War. Corbelish or other EU's elders following the ancient EU's custom. That is what they did to the protocols and the Pinckney's diary, and probably also to the American official service report mentioned above. I can carry on, but you talk about I don't want to say some of these names.
Know the document that he's talking about, but it's a document. Well, it's called the Protocol of the Elders of Zion,
Correct.
and and
That's like a monster is
and
too.
but they tried to say that this book was just that was some made up hocus pocus stuff. But
It's in
if
action
you
right
never
now.
read the document before, it's plain and simple. Like you have to be
It's
a real life idiot not to notice the whole outline of the plan that's in there. It's outlined in Bill Cooper's book, Behold the Pale Horse. It has a
is that
whole chapter.
Yes, I read it, and that's a crazy ass book. And so look, check this out. This is coming from Franklin D. Roosevelt. This is an excerpt from him or a quote from him, and this is coming from the protocols. It says, in order that our scheme may produce this result, we shall arrange elections in favor of such president as have in their past some dark undiscovered stain. Why? So they can control you. They couldn't
Have
do that
leverage.
with, huh?
They what you call have leverage against you or compromise you, just like
Yes,
they do the guys in the music industry.
that's why
They
they did
all
right, and that's why they
well,
couldn't do anything with.
rap and hip hop industry mainly.
Correct, correct. A hip hop, it doesn't matter. Anybody who wants who they have something on anybody that get into that office or anybody that get into anything that they have set up, so they
Mhm.
can. And if you go away from what they want you to do, they will use that against you. That's what happened
Sure.
with Cosby. That's what happened with Kelly. That's what happened with all these people who fell below, but they couldn't do that with Trump because Trump is a renegade, so he's like, my shit is all out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what, so they're having a hard
That's
time with him.
He's
But
got, see, they don't understand. He got friends in high places too.
come on now. That's why he can't be touched right now. So it says now this is coming from Franklin D. Roosevelt. Okay. So it says, then they will be trustworthy agents. Hold on. Okay, undiscovered stains, meaning that we're gonna look for stuff you don't even know you have. And then they say Panama or other, then they will be trustworthy agents for accomplishments of our plans out of fear of revelation and from the natural desire of everyone who has attained power, namely the retention of the privileges. We should talk about that. Advantages and honor
Mhm.
connected with the office of president. That's coming from Protocol 10. It says also the way we do things and not merely the way we say things is nearly always the test of our sincerity. Roosevelt, 1937.
Yeah,
Now that's in this book. Okay, this is coming from a quote. Okay, a quote. And then
yeah.
and this is the stuff that people don't really want to accept. It's coming from a book. Now I wish you would come at me and challenge me. This is coming from an excerpt from a um which
This man
president?
said this on the floor of the Senate.
Come on now. Another one, what's his name?
Roosevelt. Well,
Was
you
it Rose?
had
Go
a
ahead.
few. Roosevelt was the main one who was against. He was against the formulation of secret societies and secret alliances, and that's
Mhm.
just basically what speaking on. You know, when when you're compromised, it's a secret. It's not something that's known. That it's meant that I have a secret on you,
Right.
and that secret is going to have this uh this binding oath that
To keep
you
you in check.
swear to in order
Abide by.
for you to to have wealth, fame, but mainly to carry out our agenda.
I was about to say that. You have in order for you to, we'll give you this and make you happy, but you need to make sure you stay in line with our agenda. Hold on one second. And if you go against that, then we're gonna pull them stains out and we're gonna reveal those stains to you.
Or we're gonna
That's
whack you.
Or we gonna whack you. Okay, whack you. They don't mind whacking.
What what was the Roman Empire famous for? They was
Whacking and
famous
hacking
for
and,
assassinating their Caesar.
mind you, to tie
They
in to what we are, yeah, and to tie in to where we are today, with the same Roman understanding, the same Roman, ancient Rome traditions, um, there was a such thing called um wine and circus,
yeah, bread and circus.
bread and circus.
Give them bread and circuses. That
What does
means
that?
let the people eat, drink, and watch these games. Let them. We take them. We open up the amphitheater and we put the gladiators in there. Then we have all kind of crazy drunken festivals and everything. Even the Romans got it from the Greeks with the Olympics and
I'm about to
everything.
hold on one second.
And
Go ahead. You're good, but I'm about to share something. We're gonna go back to
when
that. We're gonna go
when
back to
you
that.
when you look at emperor, all of the emperors had a time where they had like about weeks and weeks of festivals and games and everything. And we the Americas inherit that ideology also with
I'm
the
about to.
with our sports with our sports game. We
And
have
mind you,
every season there is a sports competition to get your attention. Almost
Right. But
every
right.
city with multiple sports participating in a certain season.
Correct.
That's bread and
So
circus.
right. So bread and
Distraction.
hmm?
I say a distractions.
Distraction. Distraction from what? So it says bread and circus, and this is what we got going on today. It says bread and
Mhm.
circus or bread and games. Give you all the cheap food you can eat, free food you can eat, and then distract you while we play our G20 games and change policies or guide the world into the direction that they want, or go to the Jekyll Island and make all these decisions
Hmm.
while you guys enjoy and watch sports. And it's right.
Like look, like we putting
It's
the y'all go sit at the kitty table and let the grown folks talk.
correct, correct. Okay, now mind you, just for people who are watching, just in case they're not familiar with Wikipedia, Wikipedia is a source of information with a bunch of scholars that put information in this source, this platform that is considered to be reputable. And if a reputable source decided to challenge that information that has been uploaded on Wikipedia, they have the ability to do that and go up in there and make adjustments due to the fact of their credentials. Their, it has to be fairly accurate, and it can be corrected. So but in this case, this is fairly cut, out, what it is. It is what it is. um so it says bread and circus. And when you're dealing with an organizations are pretty .govs or government stuff.
Yeah,
.org is organizational stuff.
yeah.
So this is a pretty good source, but it's not at 100%, but it is probably high, 99.99, whatever the case is. So it says bread and circus is uh metonymic phrase for referring to superficial appeasement. For those who may not know what appeasement mean, I like opening the boxes. It says appeasement is an international context. In an international context, is a
Mhm.
diplomatic policy of making political, material, or territorial concessions to an aggressive power in order to avoid conflict. Okay, so like soften you up, right? And the term is often applied to foreign policies or whatever the case is, but in this case, we're pretty much referring this to the people
Mhm.
of America right now, the new Rome. So,
What, what
huh?
now you have, but you have also you have to include the world also, because a lot of events we have foreigners come over here and participate in those events also, especially they just having this big old hoopla about this golf tournament that the Saudis are financing, and a lot of the PGA players have dropped out, claiming that the Saudis is this, that, and the other, So they demonizing the Saudis just like they demonize the Russians, because the Saudis won't give America no oil like that. No oil. Like, no, we not. No, y'all messed up.
So now we having a chain effect on who's claiming who. It's such a mess at this point. It's like the War of the Roses.
Mhm.
Fight until the death. Ugh. Okay. Anyways, it says in a political context, the phrase means to generate public approval, not by excellence of public service, da, 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 but diversion, distraction is right here.
Yeah.
Diversion, distraction. So by satisfying the most immediate or base requirements of the populace, okay, for example, food and entertainment,
That's it.
okay. So it says, so it says, so it says, Juvenal, who coined the phrase, used it to decry the selfishness or common people of their neglect of wider concerns. So while they're going on holidays, they're making decisions while people are taking off.
Mhm.
You see, and then what they're doing is they're giving you bread and wine and circus so you can entertain yourself and not pay attention to what's going on right here.
Now, when you think of entertainment, what do what do most people do on the weekend or when they're off of work? When they have some time for what should be what I would call recreation. That means to recreate recreation as opposed to entertainment. They do they go to museums? Do they go to a
Yeah.
art show? Are they involved with some extracurricular activities with the children in the neighborhood now that they're not at work? Like taking them to having playing sports with them or sitting down with them and uh, doing something educational, something informative to stimulate their cognitive thinking as opposed to their base carnal desire of wanting to be satisfied. That
Right.
that that doesn't happen at the on the mainstream America and the majority of people, and
Mhm.
especially now that we're in this pandemic, it has even gotten worse. Just like
Yes.
in ancient Rome, where they had different diseases came come through there and everything, and they have to quarantine the city and everything. I mean, they used to take the when smallpox and all of those diseases came through there, they took the bodies and threw them out in the middle of the street and burnt them
And burn
right
them.
there. After all of this happened, then you have this mayhem, and it's what you call another pan word, pandemonium, which is happening right now in America with all of these mass shootings, with all of this uh, senseless violence that's going on, and it's because of the situation that when they call it a pandemic, they actually that's a sort of a spell, or when they use that word pan, the the prefix of the word pandemic is pan. Pan was the god of mirth, the god of debauchery. He was represented as the sabbatic goat. He had the face in the head, the face of a man, horns in his head, and feet like hooves, which gives us the representation of the so-called devil. So all of these words with pan in them, you know,
So what about
gives
what
us
about the term what about the term Pan Africa?
pan, and pan in that sense means more than one.
Okay. Movement.
You have different the etymology of the word is meaning more than one. It's like
Okay.
you have pansexual, pan Africanism, but you see they use the word pan by itself. They don't add the suffix to it, which explains the intent of the suffix when you conjugate the whole word together.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, got me. Just wanted to
That's just a
understand.
little
All right. So,
etymological reference.
thank you,
I
my
say
friend.
that's a little.
Okay, so all right, let's get to number 3. So it says continuous war, in which we were talking about when I pulled out the book and all that stuff. It says a
Mhm.
national state of security arises. The song, okay, we're going through right now, right? We had a few of those. Distracting attention from domestic challenges with foreign wars.
See,
I just pulled this book out and expressed that.
and we was discussing that in the hard copy, talking about the Ukrainian war, and they just got out of Afghanistan. They went over to Afghanistan, got those people to make an alliance with them in a country where you have you have this what they call it Islam. What type of Islam do they call it? Radical Islam, where these people they don't play like that. They don't play with religion like that. They'll chop
Right.
your head off. They'll chop your arms, your limbs,
Yeah,
and
blow
stuff off.
themselves
So
up.
they don't
Blow
play like
themselves
that.
up. Yeah.
And so they got these fools. They got these Afghani some of the citizens around there to be interpreters and everything for the military and to do certain have certain jobs within the American military infrastructure, and then they left those people high and dry.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Mm-hmm.
people running behind the plane, jumping on the wings of the plane, like where are you going, sir?
Right, 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 right. Okay.
what what did Biden do? He said, "Sayonara, ain't nothing we can do for y'all." Now,
Uh,
after that incident happened, have we heard anything else about what was the result of those people who were left behind?
right. They
Why
just shift you
is
like
that
a
talk
page in the book. Like just a page in the book. Everything has like a drop. What happened to COVID? COVID just dropped out of nowhere. Everybody's
Yeah.
running around with no mask on their face right now. Okay.
Mhm.
You get a small amount of people catching it, but it's not compared to what they claimed it was before they actually start putting those masks on their face. So what happened? Everything has just have a instant drop. What happened to the 9/11 incident? Everything it just, oh, we fixed it. You good? Go back to work. You know
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, and
Oh,
people automatically shift their attention to wherever the social engineering takes them. And it was a great word that you used, but I always use all the time in shaping the mindset of the mainstream American public is propaganda.
mhm,
We've been
mhm,
propaganda
absolutely.
so much. I mean, the movie industry
What
from
happened with
its
Cuba?
inception was set up for propaganda.
Absolutely. Um.
So we know that these same things happened in Rome, and this is the correlations that I'm trying to make or that I'm trying to present is the fall of Rome, the rise and the
The
fall of
reason.
Rome, and and it looks like it's happening in here in this country, and it's been happening aggressively since since I've been alive on this earth
and and
for the
and, and
last
but it's speeding up right now because that time
yes,
frame is
that's
coming to us.
aggressive words,
Right,
aggressive.
right. And this is why Trump was so adamant about not allowing um this is something that they missed big time. The word globalist slash nationalist. It went from Democrat Republican to globalist nationalist.
Yeah,
People miss that. And they kept throwing that
that's
word around.
the Clintons brought in what you call internationalism.
Right. You
Once
know, so
the Clintons in the Bushes, they brung in that internationalism, and you
right.
see what
Well,
Biden and
so
Trump is
actually,
doing over there, and implicated in Russia and all of that type of stuff. That's globalization and internationalism.
right. And that right there alone is that right there is bringing this back to that
Hmm.
Roman under that Roman repeat, because
Hmm.
they understand that if you break down the borders, America will fall. And this is why Trump was putting the borders up, because he was like, we can't let America fall. And so, same thing with Rome. They brought down the borders. Same thing that happened to Egypt, ancient Egypt. They brought down the borders. It fell. Okay. Um, at the steppe, all that stuff. So it's all repeating itself. But the reason why people don't see it, because they don't know what's going. They don't know what happened in the past, and they're so gung ho about kumbaya with the world, which is perfectly okay. But you have to worry about your liveliness, especially for the
Your
under
home,
your
home comes
that's
first.
what I'm saying. Your home. This is your home.
You don't go in your backyard and sleep in a tent, and then let somebody else sleep in your bed, your bedroom in your house.
Let me tell you, they're gonna go
That's
ahead
what
and
we
kick you
talking
out your own house. They're gonna kick you out your own house, you know. And what happens is that, especially like black people are so quick to, and this is our nature. We have a Labrador retriever nature. Meanwhile,
about.
we're a Labrador retrievers in the wolf world, you know, and we
Yeah,
don't realize that our Labrador retrievers getting our ass kicked, our mentality, and it's causing us to
yeah,
constantly stay pressed in the mud. And when you bring everybody else in unvetted, they begin to take away your benefits. And this is what
yeah.
Trump was expressing. Like, no, let the people of America obtain and maintain what they have built. I don't he didn't necessarily want to say black people.
Yeah,
But I knew,
yeah. Black folks, black,
I knew what he was
well,
talking about, because he was
black folks
literally
they didn't have no choice but to build it because they was under the whip.
right. And what I'm
Everything.
and what look at him right there. One of the black guys in young black guys was like, bring back Daddy T. It was like, this place is a mess because, oh boy, Biden. But what's going on is that darn, I forgot, kind of like lost my track. Um
Well, this is what's happening is just like you say those uh in the ancient times they let foreigners come in and they opened their borders and they tried to branch out also and overtake other nations, and by us opening up these borders just like Rome did and welcoming these people in, these people began to take the place of the citizens who
and
are natives, who are
that's
natives to this
right,
country.
right. And that's
And
what Trump
can
was
you
trying to say.
imagine? Can you imagine China being able to come in and invade us? Pakistan,
Let me tell
India,
you, hold on.
people are in the United States right now, and they're in here in greater numbers than they ever been before. The Middle
Right.
Easterners,
You
the
listen,
A,
but you won't for and I keep pointing out the underserved, the underclass. If you think you're lonely now,
wait until the night. Huh?
wait until next 2 years. You I'll be like, y'all tripping. Because if you don't think that those people from these other areas are going to come and try to take over the political realm, underserved communities don't have the reason why they're underserved is because they're not making themselves
You don't have to
noticeable
stop
that they
them.
are here.
Yeah. Who's
I was
who's the vice president of the United States? Is
uh,
she a native born American? How
let me
she get
say,
up
you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? The easement is coming on. You know, I'm friends with this councilman that fights for the underserved community. And
there?
he was saying he said this is the crazy part about it. Black people don't vote, and they don't do the censors. He said this is staggering. He said, you know how many people voted? The black community, I think he said less than 25%. Okay. And he said
Wow.
you wonder why they don't, and then they don't take the censors. I'm a victim of it. I'm guilty. They don't do the census because when they don't do that, they're basically reporting back to the government saying that we don't need any help. We don't
Yeah.
need nothing. So keep it moving and go to the Asian community. Go to the other communities because those people when they do these census, they see what's going on and they see what help is being needed for that
Mhm.
community. But since nobody
They're
is
able to judge, they're able to judge the demographics, and these
right,
people are counted.
and they
Well, if
cannot
you're not
allocate
counted, then you can't have no representation. Like we
exactly.
don't. They said it was 30. It is. It is 500 people coming up talking about we need. Like,
Right.
well,
And they're
y'all
like,
didn't say
well,
that.
well,
Y'all didn't say
nobody's
that when we asked.
right, right. So, so I found that very disturbing because I was one of those people that used to dodge. Don't knock on my door. You ain't about to count my head. But this is why those areas have um fixtures and things going on better than some of the underserved because they're saying we are here, we have concerns. We need to let you know that we are active in our community and we need funds allocated for this area. But when
Right.
they don't speak out, this was gonna but that's what Trump was expressing. Trump was trying to say the people who built this city needs to enjoy what is here because if you let people in here, they're not going to reap the benefits. And he was talking about black people.
Of course it was.
Yes, he's like, that's not fair.
Because the white American society has basically, for the most part, always taken care of their communities,
Right, right.
and kept their kept their communities clean, did their own policing. You talk about the Karens and everything, which is, it gets out of hand at times and everything. But these people have a vested interest in in where they're living at. I just
Mind
had to
you,
walk out my back door and pick up a empty fan box that somebody just put on their garbage right by the back door, and it's just sitting there,
mm,
and the garbage is blowing all over the complex.
well,
So I had to go out there and pick it up and go throw it away because we don't have that. When you talk about the underclass, so-called underclass, and even the middle class now, because they snatching a lot away from the middle class by letting
oh
these
yeah,
foreigners coming in,
it's rich and
starting
poor.
business and everything, and then they displacing the middle class black person who would usually have their job and everything, and they say, well, he gonna work for $3 less, you know what I mean? So we don't need you anymore. And so that job that these people done had for 20 and 30 years, they're now replaced. by
Yes.
somebody who just got here yesterday.
Right. Right. That
But they never sat down and um, created an infrastructure within their own communities to in order to rotate the money and back into the community. Is
right.
that middle class good person gets a good job, you go buy him a house, you go buy him a car. First thing you're gonna do, you're gonna go buy you a house and go buy you a car. Everything else, you're not gonna be anything but a consumer for the most part. And you're
Absolutely.
not going to invest in your community and you're not gonna start a business.
Correct. Let's go ahead and read these other few, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So it says
Okay.
foreign powers lavish money attention on republic leaders. Foreign wars led to growing influence by foreign powers and interests on the republic's political leaders. True for Rome and true for us. In the past century, foreign embassies, agents, and lobbyists have proliferated in our nation's capital. As one specific example, a foreign businessman donated 100 million to the Clintons' various activities. Clinton opened doors for him and sometimes acted in ways contrary to stated American interests and foreign policies. We know that.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, it says,
See what I said about internationalism?
uh-huh. It says profits made overseas shape the republic internal policies as the fortunes of Rome's increasingly derived from foreign land aristocracy, I'm sorry, increasingly derived from foreign lands. Roman policy was shaped to facilitate these fortunes. American billionaires and corporations increasingly influence our elections. In many cases, there are many nominally, there, there, they are only nominally American, with interests not aligned with those of the American public, sorry. For example, Fox News is part of international media group News Corp with over 30 billion in revenue worldwide. Is Fox News jigoism? Jingoism is a
Jingo,
product, huh?
jingoism.
A product of News Corp non-U.S. interests. It says number
Hmm.
6, the collapse of the middle class. In the period just before the Roman Republic fall, the Roman middle class was crushed, destroyed by cheap overseas slave labor. In our own day, we've witnessed rising income inequality, a stagnated middle class, and the loss of American jobs to overseas workers who are paid less and have fewer rights. Gerrymandering. Rome's late republic used various methods to reduce the power of common citizens. The GOP has so effectively gerrymandered congressional districts that even though the House Republican candidates received only 48% of the popular vote in the 2012 election, they ended up with the majority 53% of the seats. Loss of the spirit of compromise. The Roman Republic, like ours, relied on a system of checks and balances. Compromise is needed for this type of system to function. In the end, the Roman Republic lost the spirit of compromise, with political politics increasingly polarized between optimists, the rich entrenched elites, and the populars, the common people. Sound familiar? Compromise is in noticeably short supply in our own time also. For example, there were more filibusters between 2009 and 2010. They were. Than there were in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s combined. So they can clearly see that they can go ahead and do their homework. It's there. These are facts. They can use their common sense, open their eyes, and look at reality for what it is and not the media.
And this is only scratching the surface of the
Yes.
similarities in between ancient Rome with the symbolism of our country, the architecture of our country. Um, it's the way our government is set up. It is a direct copy of ancient Rome, and it was intended and designed to be that way.
And why do we have to stay within this realm of Rome? Why? Why do they want to keep us here? So they can keep
Rome,
doing a
Rome,
great reset.
Rome was one of the most powerful empires there were. Uh, to uh, to the modern man. We looked at Greece and we looked at Egypt, and they was strong. We looked at even the African kingdoms of Nubia and all
But
of
they
those
didn't have
kingdoms.
that
Nobody, nobody kick ass like the Romans. The Romans
because they were
kicked
gutter.
ass everywhere.
Because they were
They
eating
had to,
them Somalis. That's why.
and so America won, but the ancient Roman Empire, even though they were conquerors and everything, which if you're going to be an empire, you're going to have to be a conqueror. You can't be no conqueror being nice like the Egyptians were. That's why they got conquered.
Mhm.
That's why the European came over here and conquered the indigenous people over here in North America because they was too damn nice. You can't be nice and keep your stuff. You got to be just as ruthless as they were. And that's why the fall of Rome came from these barbarian tribes who was just as ruthless as they were. Matter of fact, these people they didn't have no written language or anything. They was out there like they was
So
cannibalizing people and everything. And like Rome looked at them like, damn, y'all real bad. So what they did was went over to Britain and mostly Britain was Romanized.
mhm.
All of those other tribes came out of and conquered Rome, created Europe. These were Germanic tribes. All of the barbarians, they were the Germanic tribes. So you can see the personality of these Europeans on the German side as being barbarians, and on the British Roman alliance on how Rome was they were a little more polished and everything. They could give their
Of
speeches
course,
and everything.
they had dignity. They had a certain amount of dignity. You know,
Yeah,
they
but
had more.
they learned
They
from
because they learned from
they were educated about it.
the Roman Greco Empire learned from
Mhm.
the ancient Egypt the old
Right?
kingdom.
Yeah.
So they had that flair, like they knew that they learned from them. So of course you're gonna have some poise about yourself and some oh, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Of course.
They can have, yeah, I mean, it was like, how could you're dirty, why would you, like, where's your fine silk and linen?
not, not from
Charlie Brown.
not from Rome.
You know, and
But
they taught
there,
them that
there's
they
one
learn.
there's one
It,
more book that I want to mention I put it in I put it in the bibliography later, and that was Elijah Muhammad's The Fall of America. It's
ah
a good book to read It's not big at all. It's like no more
It's a
than
little
100
print.
pages.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
book that gives reference to the topic that we're talking about. I could give you a whole list of
I know.
bibliography of books that I read on this
Let's
subject
go. Let's
because
go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. So I
but
would
some
like,
of the books is like they too dense.
huh? It's too
They
thick.
like books like that.
That's why I gotta
Books
read.
like that.
I look. I got some too. Uh, uh, but listen, and
Yeah.
I got a lot of medical books that I love to read too. So, but listen, I would like to talk to you more about, like, next week we talk about um the different groups, the Germans, the Romans, the, the Hyksos, the Hittites, and all these different, I would,
Ancient
their behavior, their,
barbarian tribes and their origin.
their behavior, their, I want to talk more about that, the Britons, all that type of stuff. So next week,
Hmm.
let's chop it up and, talk about these different, I like to call them sects,
The Romans called them the barbarian hordes. When they was in the movie Gladiator, when they was in the arena fighting, and they had to Maximus had to go in there and fight. He brung those barbarians, and the guy announced, he said, "And here comes the barbarian hordes," and they had all of these crazy ass dressed up all wild with different weapons and everything. But
Okay.
you have people like what I'll speak on that next week. Okay,
Okay. All
next
right.
week.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I know, let me see something here. I always check this up. So you guys listen, our YouTube channel is, let me show you right quick. YouTube, all right, is right here. So think about it now. Yeah, okay. Boom. That's our YouTube. All right. That's the YouTube channel. Y'all go ahead and just cut and paste that inside of YouTube, and hit that subscribe button. Thank you very kindly. If y'all want to stay attuned and tune with this, don't be afraid to go past 5 minutes watching YouTube videos. Train your brain to stay still. Do more meditation. Get more in tune so information can come to you, so you can be more enlightened and be more ready for future issues that may arise if you live to see that. So I am a Set, the goddess, in which I revere big time. All right, and we'll talk about a Set later on in some other time. But I have Michael, my sweet friend, who is sharing his lovely time with us, and we're chopping it up. So holler at us next week, and we shall see you guys next time.
Ashe and Hotep Maya.
Hold up, my yacht.